Education has to change to create people that can think, that can adapt. Creative people are going to rule the world. Well, I don't know whether you agree or disagree with Daniel Pink. That's not my purpose for explaining it. But my purpose for explaining is this: we've got to change. As times change, we change. So if that's the key, creative people that can adapt, then doesn't that make the role of character education even more important? Getting along with each other, the ability to be flexible. All of those are things that all of a sudden, if we truly have the end product in line, how are we going to make people, the young people, successful? We've got to buy into those concepts, just as simple as that. Well, let's apply it to the overall picture of character education. You know what? There was a time where we said, well, the parents are going to do it. Just leave it to the parents to do. As simple as that. Times have changed. We have to change as an educational unit. Some people are slow to do that. Others are all on board. You know, as simple as this, I really believe that the schools have to embrace the concept of character education. You know, Teddy Roosevelt said it best when he said this: to educate a man in a man in mind and not morals is to educate a menace to society. Here's another thing that I believe in, just even simpler. If a student makes a mistake in math, we teach him more math, we tutor him. If a student makes a mistake in English, we correct him, we tutor him. If a student makes a mistake in character, in behavior, we punish him. Now, as I told you before, I was an assistant principal in charge of discipline. I'm a great believer. You have to have actions and consequences. If you get away from that, the school is not going to function. But within those consequences has to be changing behavior. Punishment alone doesn't work. You know, I think we're starting to see a lot of schools come up with creative and new ideas for implementing discipline. There's got to be consequences. I mean, please, and they've got to be a detriment to the students behaving a certain way. Maybe people don't believe that. I believe it. And I think that classroom teachers expect it to be backed up in that manner. But along with that has to come character education. Are you a character educator or just an educator? Are you just punishing or are you changing? Just as simple as that. So I think that the belief is not the role of the schools. That's changing. And I think that we all have to get along with it. All right. Reason number 8. Business and colleges are not examples for us. As simple as this. I talked about it. If you're failing in business, they're going to fire you. In college, think about college. You go on the first day of class, they give you a syllabus. They tell you when the tests are going to be. They tell you when the papers are going to be. They don't take attendance. They don't care what you do outside of class. What you are judged on is what you do in class. College professors don't view it, in most cases, as their job to impart character to you. Right or wrong. I think that's changing. But you know what? That's not an example for us. So we went through training in college, and this is what we heard, hopefully not in education classes, but it happened. It's just the way it is. You're a responsible adult now. Well, that's not a good example for us. I talked about that earlier. We teach K through 12. You know, one of the things that I tell the young people that I work with is, this is the most cared you will ever be in your life. People will care about you. They will discipline you. They will correct you when you're wrong. They will expect you to do your homework. They will take attendance. If you're misbehaving, there will be actions and consequences. It's the most cared about you'll ever be in your life. When you go to the business world, they don't care. When you go to college, if you don't perform at that level, you flunk out. There was a time at Ohio State University, this has changed, where close to 50% of the freshmen flunked out. This is way back when they had admitted just about everybody from the state of Ohio that applied, but half of them flunked freshman English and flunked out. They got put in those towers over by the stadium, had a great time, but they flunked out. As simple as that. That's not us. We don't do that. We don't let our students, it's not set up that way. College is not a great example for us, and we have to realize that and make our own standards. Business is not a great example for us, and we have to make our own example. You know, going back to that thing is the most cared about. Why is it that schools are perceived this way? In grade school, and in lower grades especially, The teachers place tremendous emphasis on empathy and embracing students. You know, maybe we can't do this anymore. Come here, give me a hug, and this, that, and the other thing, and all of that things. And as the students get older, we get away from that. More important to our content is more important. I want to tell you something. I taught high school for a lot of years. High school students want to be cared about, want relationship with their teachers just as much as anyone else. That excuse that they're older and content area, that's not true. High school students have just as many issues and problems as those young people. Character education is just important, as if not more important, at the high school level. You know, every one of those character conferences that I go to, one of the topics is always this: why don't the high school and sometimes middle school educators have the same commitment to character education as the elementary? And there are a lot of excuses and a lot of things, and they're probably valid, but I don't buy into them. I think that every level from K through 12 has to have that same thing, that same commitment.